I want to talk about the NEC, the TurboGrafx 16, which I didn't own, but I do love the music from Alien Crush. I first heard it on that show, Nickelodeon Total Panic, and I absolutely fell in love with the music in Alien Crush, particularly in the bonus stages. Beautiful, like haunting music in the. I don't know where they came up with this music, but here, let's sample some music from Alien Crush. By the way, is a pinball machine that's like a monster, or it's alive. It's like a living alien. I don't know. It was weird. They did this a lot. It had sequels like Devil's Crush, or I think there was another one. It was weird. It was cool though. But anyway, let's hear some music from Alien Crush. That music is still awesome. I love it. Okay, let's move on to the PlayStation. Now we're talking. Let's talk about some Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Arguably one of the greatest soundtracks ever made for a video game. Not even exaggerating. I would. It's definitely one of the top 10 greatest video game soundtracks ever recorded, in my opinion. Ever put to ever, like, when you marry music to a video game, this is like one of the pinnacle moments, like, in history of doing that. Just unbelievable, the soundtrack in this game. So it's all orchestrated. It's beautiful. Well, not all of it. Some of it is like keyboard sounds and guitar sounds. I mean, you got everything. And what a massive soundtrack it is. I think it has like 32 tracks. I forgot how many tracks it has. I think the Sega Saturn one has even more tracks. It's just amazing soundtrack. You'll never, once you play this game from beginning to end, you'll never forget the soundtrack for this game. Just beautiful, a masterpiece. That's what I want to say. It's a masterpiece. Let's check out some music from. Do you think I hyped it enough? You want to hear some music from Castlevania Symphony of the Night? amazing, still amazing after all these years. What a great soundtrack. Something interesting about this game, the American cover, look at it, it sucks. It's like some generic castle with lightning. That used to upset me, so what I did back in the day was I found the Japanese cover, which has Alucard, like a beautiful painting of Alucard. The Japanese always do the best covers. I printed it online and I put it in the CD case, and I was like, I'm gonna have that cover because I actually have pictures of it. I was like, there's no way I'm going to keep this lame ass. This doesn't do the game justice. It's just a castle. Like, how generic can you get? But anyway, what I want to talk about next is let's talk about. I'm just going to skip down. Oh no, let's talk about Rayman, because Rayman has some awesome music. Some great tunes in this, especially the saxophone stage with the musical notes. Some great music in Rayman. I believe I bought the PlayStation at a electronic boutique. I think it was 95, and I think I don't know if I don't think it came with Ridge Racer, but I got Ridge Racer for it, and they were giving away demos of Rayman next to the cashier. And before I was about to leave, he gave it to me, and he said, "Here, my man, take this demo." And I was like, "What is this?" He goes, "Rayman, check it out." And I was like, "Okay." They were just giving them away, so I was like, "All right, this is pretty cool." Another game, basically, you know. And I played Rayman at home, and I really loved it. And eventually, I bought the full version. But anyway, let's see why Rayman's music is so awesome. Still an awesome soundtrack. Let's talk about Tekken 2, because this is back when they really cared about soundtracks. Not that they don't care today, but there was like this. They really went out of their way, and this is. I'm gonna come back to this also on Soul Blade, but right now I'm gonna talk about Tekken because when you bought Tekken 2, you didn't just get the Tekken 2 soundtrack, because you got like 3 different soundtracks. They used to do this a lot back then, back in like the PlayStation era. You would get like a bunch of soundtracks, like variations of the soundtrack. They didn't have to do that, which was awesome. So basically, you got the arcade music of Tekken 2 in the arcades. Then you got the remixed PlayStation version, which is my favorite soundtrack on the game. Then, just for the heck of it, let's throw in the Tekken soundtrack from Tekken 1. Is all also in and also remixed in Tekken 2. Like, they went all out. Like, they were like, let's have all the music from Tekken, let's remix it, let's have everything. Let's throw the kitchen sink in there. But Tekken 2 has some amazing music, especially the I believe the Michelle stage in the desert, or in the caverns. I don't know where it is. But the music is just amazing in this music. Some great keyboard sounds, just some great sounds they get out of this music, this game. So let's check out the music of Tekken 2. Still a great soundtrack. Let's talk about Soul Blade. What was it called in the arcades? It was because I believe it wasn't called Soul Blade. It was called Soul Rage, not Soul Rage. Damn, I can't remember. If somebody in the comments can remember what Soul Blade is called in the arcade, remind me, please. But yeah, Soul Blade, wow. Oh my goodness, the soundtrack for this game. Immediately when you put it on, you get that intro music with that singer. I think it's a female singer. I don't remember the lyrics, but it goes like, we all need to shine on to see how far we've come from eternity. All right. Deep in the night, la la. I can't remember the lyrics. Da 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 da. Talking about the age of sorrow, the age of I don't know. I'm making up lyrics. That sounds ridiculous, but yeah, how embarrassing. But yeah, you know what I'm talking about. When that soundtrack comes on, you're like, damn, I want to play this game. Like, wow. I think I saw the intro like 10 times in a row. I remember my brother's friends came over to see just to see the intro. They were like watching. I was like, damn, it's like a big deal, the intro. It was just something you didn't see that often back then, I guess. But anyway, once you get into the game, though, damn, because not only do you get the arcade music, not only do you get the remix of the arcade, but then they throw in Namco apparently has like a team called Super Session. What were they called? Super Session Con. I forgot what they're called. They did their own version of the soundtrack, and man, that soundtrack is like I don't know what they did, but they had like guitars and keyboards and different sounds to it, and just took it to a whole new level. That's just, oh man, absolutely mind blowing. And that's what we're gonna hear right now. The Super Session Con. I forgot what it was called. I'm not good with names, so you can look it up. But that's what we're going to hear right now, because you got to hear this soundtrack. It's amazing. freaking amazing. What a soundtrack. Let's talk about Tomb Raider. Now Tomb Raider, there isn't like some continuous, long soundtrack. Tomb Raider comes in like in spurts. Like you do some event or trigger an event or do something in the game, and then you get these beautiful musical cues like that just come in. These beautiful, like it's like a musical suite that just comes in and sweeps for a little while, maybe like for 15 to 30 seconds of music. It really sets the tone for the entire music. Just I have great memories about Tomb Raider. It's one of my favorite games of all time. I would even say that Tomb Raider is my favorite game of all time, the first one. It's the first game where kind of like what I had imagined when I was in the 80s, like in 82 when I was playing Pitfall. It was like something I imagined in my head, like something I thought would be impossible, but I imagined it anyway. I was thinking, what if there was a game where you controlled a person in 3D world? I was like, and I used to tell my brother that all the time, and he would say, it's impossible. Graphics will never do that. I was like, forget it. It's never going to happen. Well, it did happen. And Tomb Raider was the first game where that vision that I had back then was coming to. I was like, damn, I'm in a 3D world. Oh, this is it. Like, wow. That's a whole other story about how much I love Tomb Raider. But anyway, let's sample some of the music in Tomb Raider. Zero Divide. A lot of people don't probably know about this game. It's like fighting robots. I think there was a sequel, Zero Divide 2. Yeah, there's one particular track I love in Zero Divide, which we're going to sample right now. You're going to see why I love it so much, and maybe you'll like it too. Here we go. Yeah, not much, but I do love that little moment. What a great little moment in that track. I just love it. Just always remembered that. Tokyo Highway Battle. This game has an amazing soundtrack too. A lot of guitar sounds. But here's one particular track I absolutely love in Tokyo Highway Battle. Great guitar melody here and just a great soundtrack. Check it out. Awesome soundtrack. Love that game. Let's talk about PlayStation 2. SSX series. I don't know if I'm going to be able to play any music from this. This might get copyrighted because there's a lot of licensed music. But damn, we got to talk about SSX, and its soundtrack is just amazing. The first track is cool, very cool soundtrack. What they would do is in these games is how you were doing in the game would actually affect the soundtrack, especially in SSX Tricky. Let's actually talk about SSX Tricky. It actually took everything in SSX and just, it's like SSX on steroids. Let's put it that way. They added, not only did they remix the tracks, but they added more tracks, different music. They added Run DMC. Just this is like the pinnacle. This is like the quintessential. This is the one you recommend, SSX Tricky. Amazing. The sequel's good. I like the sequel. It's different. It has DJ Automata. I forgot what his name is. It was interesting. I like the way they did it. I particularly love in SSX 3 when you go inside a cave, the music changes. It becomes more not somber. It becomes more like toned down and moody. I can't explain it, but you know what I mean if you played the game. I just love little touches like that. Also, interesting thing about this game, it's one of the first online games I ever played, which brings me to a particular story. It's story time, kids. I was part of the Sony Gamers Advisory Panel. Basically, I was part of a group. I forgot how I signed up or how I became part of it. I forgot if I signed up. I think I signed up online and I was chosen. I forgot. But basically what would happen is at a certain time you would have to call the Sony offices. A bunch of us would. I think it was like 10 people at the time. And a Sony executive would be in the room and he would have us all on speakerphone. So it would be like we were all in the room. But you know, we were all in we were all in on a meeting, but we were all on speakerphone or something. I don't know how they did it. It sounds like I'm making this up, but I'm not. I swear this is a real thing. You can look it up. The Sony Gamers Advisory Panel, and basically they would ask us questions about what we're doing right, marketing, stuff like that. And in one particular meeting, he announced that we were all getting the Sony, the online adapter for the PlayStation 2. And I was like, wow. And you'll all be receiving it in the mail and all that stuff. And you'll also be getting Final Fantasy 11, which was online. And we got that too. And awesome. And you get to keep it also. So, because that was one of the questions I asked, which thinking back, it was probably not like, kind of like a not greedy question, but I was like, do we get to keep it? It's like, sounded dumb, but and he said, yeah, you all get to keep the adapter, and it was cool. You got to keep it. It came wrapped, you know, and this is before it came out. Like it was like, I think we got it like 3 weeks before it came out or something like that, and we got to play Final Fantasy 11 early. It was a lot of fun. I love that game. And but what happened was, there was a storm one night, and I didn't have a power surge, and I think this is why it happened. And there was a big, loud thunder strike or lightning strike, and it burned my PlayStation 2. In other words, it bricked my PlayStation 2 and messed up the online adapter, all that stuff. Oh, and also it came with the hard drive, or yeah, I forgot if it came or I know I had the hard drive. For the oh yeah, I had the hard drive for the PlayStation 2 for Final Fantasy 11. That was another thing. That all got fried. So I had to call up Sony and tell them that, I was like, they're not going to believe me. But I took pictures and sent them into Sony and everything. And then they called me back and said, yeah, we'll replace everything for you. Don't worry about it. So they replaced everything. So basically that PlayStation 2 I was talking about in my last video with the Cuban lady who saved it for me in Toys R Us, basically that PlayStation got fried. That PlayStation 2. You can also see it in the video I posted with SSX. There's one video I posted of my old room where you see SSX. That PlayStation 2 is the one that got fried eventually. So yeah, that's a story there that happened. And yeah, because I was reminded of online gaming on PlayStation 2, which was just like, it was like the early birth of mainstream online gaming. They were like experimenting. You can tell that's the direction they were. What's interesting is when a lot of Final Fantasy 11 and the sign-up screen, the fonts and all that, a lot of that transferred over to PlayStation 3 online. The way PlayStation 3 looked, the menu, a lot of that, Sony didn't really change it that much, the way it looked, the fonts. I always thought that was interesting. But anyway, I'm sorry, I'm getting sidetracked now. What were we talking about? This is another one, the Katamari series. This is the sequel, We Love Kara. That's another one that has an amazing soundtrack, but I can't, that'll get copyrighted so fast. But let's talk about the soundtrack we all really want to talk about and what you've all been waiting for and why you're watching this video. Britney Spears' Dance Beat. This is what we want to hear right now. Let's hear some of the soundtrack. This I would probably say that Britney's Dance Beat is the greatest soundtrack ever recorded in the history of video games. No, just kidding. But let's hear some samples right now. Oh baby, baby, I want you to know, to say I was around. No, just kidding. Soul Calibur. Let's talk about Soul Calibur 2 on GameCube. My favorite version of the game because it featured Link. Awesome game, Soul Calibur 2. But there's one particular track I really love in Soul Calibur 2, and it's my favorite track, and I think it's the best track in the entire game. That it's so good it overshadows all the other tracks in the game, and it's kind of like where I wish the whole soundtrack had gone, but it doesn't. But yeah, it's just the standout track I really love in this game, and let's listen to it right now. Let's end it there right now with Soul Calibur 2. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe, and thanks for all the support, guys. I've been trying to reach 2,000 subs before the end of the year. I don't think I'm going to make it, though, but be cool if I did. But, you know, what are you going to do? Just keep making videos and keep on trucking, right? So, anyway, guys, thanks for watching my video, and I'll see you guys later, all right? Bye-bye.